What images make up Madras? Allergy like clouds, sticky sweat trickling down the neck, and the taste of spicy fish fry. This city greets any visitor the second they step off the train, punctuated by echoes of announcements. And its famous heat is a reminder of its proximity to the sea. Once an abode for passionate, aspiring actors in search of stardom, Madras has branched out, becoming a home for people from all walks of life. As it turns 385 this August, memories peep out from the bylanes. The crevices of buildings have seen a change over the years, and the beach has become a canvas on the minds of city dwellers. But our story of Madras begins in 1639, when Andrew Cogan and Francis Day from the East India Company set foot on a sweltering, sandy strip of land.
The East India Company was looking for factories on this side, and they happened to find this strip of land adjacent to Covam. And the Dutch were already here, and then the Portuguese were much more earlier. They were there at Santo. So they found this land, and it is believed that on this day, August 22nd, is when they got the deed, for commencing the business here. So Madras always had these two names, Madras and Chennai. I think there's still a kind of, so which one and why and all that, we are not sure. And even the origins of Madras itself. We do understand that Madras and Pattanam, there is an inscription that could have probably eventually became Madras. Madras and became Madras. So it went always by the double name, and it was the DMK government led by Karunanidhi which changed it to Chennai proper. So initial days, it was, today we will all be surprised. Today the reason why Andrew Cogan, they chose that was because of Covam. You had the river just emptying into the sea at that point, closer to that point. So river was needed. Those days water was one of the important considerations. So you needed a river, through which mobility, all that, and water. And that's one they chose. Fort St. George was what was Madras. Fort St. George and slightly a little small grounds around that. That was what initially started as Madras in 1639. Slowly it grew. So then they were able to, when the Golconda Sultans came and all that, immediately I think 1644-46 it came under, Madras came under Golconda Sultanate. And they were able to rent out higher places. So they already had dubashas and all that. So Triplicane was actually rented from the Golconda Sultans by one of the dubashas. So it was initially what is around what we see as Fort St. George today, and probably Madras High Court and those other things. Then it expanded slowly. When the Arkan Nawabs came, when the Mughals took over, when they finished off Golconda and they took over Golconda Sultanate, it came under the Mughals. And with the Mughals, slowly they acquired a few other villages. I think Nungambakam, 4 villages were acquired. And then slow expansion. As the Mughal power weakened, and the Arkan Nawabs, became more dependent on East India Company, there are more areas that were brought in.
Madras Day celebration. This was, I think, in 2003 or 4. It actually started when Vincent D'Souza, who still is the editor of Mylapore Times, and I were with Mr. S. Muttaya, the former city historian, the man people call Mr. Madras, who's written several books on the city. So when we were chatting with him over a cup of tea or coffee, we were discussing about the success of the Mylapore festival, which Vincent had been organizing with a lot of enthusiasm in the earlier years. I think it must have started in the early or mid 90s, the Mylapore festival, around the Madras streets in Mylapore. And during this conversation with Mr. Muthaiya, he was actually quite interested in the idea of us extending this exercise with heritage, or a focus on heritage, to other parts of the city, looking at places like Pantheon Road, where we had the museum, where we have the museum, or Cathedral Road, a place where we had several eating places, or the stretch of Comrade Salai down the beach, with some old heritage buildings, including Presidency College, the Queen Mary's College, and of course the Senate House. So it all started from there, and what we did was we really didn't know how to kickstart the whole thing. And those days, of course, we didn't have the luxury of mobile phones like we have today. Of course, we had mobile phones, but it was quite expensive making calls, receiving calls. So we started it in a small way. We had reserved the Rajaji Hall, Vincent and I going there together to book the hall for August 22nd.
What they started, I think 2004 or something, it picked up. People slowly got more enthused, and one, I would say, the big reason would be also Muthaiya. Now Muthaiya was it's very well networked, and so he used his influence, wherever, with whoever he met, be it the corporates or institutions, with whomever he had connections, he asked and he brought them all on board. And so similar, Vincent or Sashi, they also do the same thing. They opened it up, bringing in a whole lot of people. And from then on, I think there's no turning back. Everybody got involved, and Muthaiya's own writing, about Madras, the Madras miscellany and all that, kept a lot of people interested, glued, and everyone got involved. And so what started as one day, slowly, this decentralized way of looking at it. Muthaiya didn't say, we are the organizers, we will decide what it's going to be. No. So Muthaiya and Vincent, they had this model that anyone, you want to celebrate, you can celebrate. So it's not that it's only that we decide who is going to be part of the festival. So that decentralized model, and I think that has worked. So from Madras day, one day he went, it has now almost become a kind of a month-long event. Come 2000, I think 10 or 12, it might, I think it even extended to Madras fortnight. We started having about 100 programs during the week and fortnight, and so it has continued. And today it's, actually so very heartening to see that without even a press conference, of course we've had one, I think, this year as well, but, without even a press conference, there are people here in the city who kind of acknowledge that there is, this celebration, that is forthcoming on August 22nd. And over the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, even the state government has, supported us in the way that they have, they share that sentiment. And I think overall, as early catalysts of the exercise, I think we are really heartened. Social media has helped a lot in spreading the message. And I think once people began attending these programs, they were not just the senior people, there were also younger people who got very interested. And today you find, which we actually never really imagined then, that we have youngsters who are actually spearheading many of these programs in various parts of the city. Youngsters, and they are people who are, not just interested, but they're also spending a lot of time researching, interviewing people,
and even, sacrificing a lot of their time, although they might be doing some other work, in developing some sort of social history. So I think it's changed remarkably over the years, something that none of us would ever have imagined, and therefore it makes us all the more happy. Unfortunately, of course, we lost Mr. Muthaiya a few years ago, and I mean, his absence is always felt, and it's sometimes palpable, especially when we conduct programs. But I think the journey goes on, and I think the baton has, even unseen, it has passed to the next generation. I think that's really the big takeaway from this. Opportunity or an occasion, for people to come together, for the community to come together. It's not the city coming together, as you have a, huge crowd somewhere in a central area, but you can have communities combine and get together in specific local areas, to celebrate the city, but the sentiment is the same, you see. So whether you're celebrating it in KK Nagar or whether you're doing it here in Taramani, I mean, it's the same, but people have an opportunity to come together, to meet other people who are interested in the same subject. And I think at the end of the day, it's your love for heritage, that surfaces. And it is also, I think, very important to realize that, these kinds of programs and walks, etc., talks, etc., they also instill that love for your city. And so when you begin to love for your city or care for your city, I think you will do a few things as a responsible citizen.
With each year, Chennai as we know it grows older, but stays a story keeper, preserving the remains of the past. While we may actively celebrate the city during Madras month in August, the city's inclusive spirit continues to grow stronger year-long. Even at this moment, a visitor or a citizen out there is finding a corner of comfort or a moment of solace in Madras.